decisive factor in the awakening of the human being is a commitment. Commitment to face that what is undercurrently taking place within oneself. And in this way, disentangling oneself from the unconscious and automatic identification with the personality, with the so-called I. Without such a deep commitment from your side, the mind is jumping here, jumping there, going here, going there. And it becomes very difficult really to go deeper in anything. Because whenever anything deeper is arising, the tendency of the ego is to hold to the status quo. And it finds some strategy, some trick, some way to escape, to avoid this confrontation. And that is a very, very important thing when you can realize that a commitment to face that what is there in a deep way is very decisive. These are the understandings which the mystical traditions have been working with. Because it is not only passing certain informations and hints for the path, but it is also looking what are the barriers which are coming, what are the ways to deal with it, what are the ways to take care that one can overcome these barriers in the right way. And the deeper you go, the more decisive this commitment becomes. Because there are all kinds of subtler factors which one may not have considered, which one may see in a very different perspective, in a different light, which come as a curtain between you and the reality. And sometimes even if it is a thin curtain, it is still preventing you from seeing and experiencing that what is. Therefore, in the mystical traditions, there has been the emphasis of connecting to the inner friend on the path. It is very unusual for the modern, Western, scientific-oriented mind to accept and to take up the deep commitment, because it is always used to doubt, it's always used to get everything figured out through the logical, rational mind. Therefore, invariably, it remains within the same circle of the mind, of the logical, calculative process. and is not capable to go deeper. So only those who have become insightful and has come to recognize that there is something more basic which has to be considered, which is not belonging to the area of the logical and rational aspect, but which is looking at this process of the logic, the rationality, the calculative process within the mind itself. And this is entering into another dimension of non-identification, another dimension where you are stepping one step backwards within yourself, closer to yourself, and watching everything, the fears, the calculations, the resistance, the uneasiness, the strategies which the mind is producing to avoid the confrontation. And when you can approach it very carefully and sincerely, then you can see many things. How there are traps, how there are strategies which look so harmless but become a trap, because that is how the real availability to life is prevented. That is where the connection to the inner friend is very decisive, because in such moments where the subtle strategies are coming in between, to bring it into attention, to question that, to put up a challenge. And when the seeker is also committed to look, committed to confront, committed to face that what is really taking place within oneself and not getting pulled into the defensive strategies by just arguing, by finding some fault, by finding some kind of explanation, or all kind of other possibilities to avoid. When you can see through all this, then only you can really relax in a deep sense. Otherwise, there's always a certain defensiveness. You're always on the guard, checking out how far. Is it coming too close? Is it now becoming dangerous? Does it mean that now I have to lose everything? This fear of losing, you can confront it only when you are ready to risk. And for the ego, it is looking like a loss, because it is an automatic reaction from the conditioned mind. It is like when light is coming, for the darkness it looks very threatening if the darkness would have something to say about it. But as you can understand, darkness is simply a sign that light is not yet there. And in the same way, when you really look, when you bring your attention to face all what is there without identifying with it, then you come to realize that there is no need to be trapped in these fears. There is no need to be trapped in these calculations. And that is preventing you from finding the fulfillment, finding the joy, finding the peace, finding the celebration and really allowing the love. You can allow love in a true sense only when you are ready to risk. Otherwise, you are always in the calculative process. So bring your attention to these aspects so that your emphasis is in all interactions to bring the attention to that what is undercurrently going on in you, what your identification is, to whom these reactions are happening, and what are the factors involved in it. This is what becomes more and more conscious to you when you learn to look at everything what comes up with a mirror-like consciousness. That is a sense of the sitting, that you learn to look at the pleasant and the unpleasant, the easy and the difficult, all that what is in the game, the highs and the lows, the achievements and the failures, the prestige and the losses. Whatever comes, whatever you notice, watch it without identifying. Mirror it without interfering. That is what makes all the difference, because that is what enables you to transcend this area of the game and look at the reality from the right distance. You can say it in the graspable levels in this way, that when people are going to the outer space, they fly a little bit high, but they are still within the gravitational field of the earth. And they have to go further up till the gravitational field is no more having its grip. And then they are able to move in a different way. Otherwise, there is always a pull behind. And so it is also with the ego. As long as you have not gone beyond and has become familiar with that dimension, you are again and again pulled into this past, into the old identification and all the reactions which are automatically coming together with it. Only when you can go beyond the gravitational pull, then there is lightness, then there is freedom, because you are not under any pull, then the whole space is available for you. It is in the inner sense also the similar process, that when you are not identified with anything, when you are not caught in the idea of a separate I, then only you are free. Then only you can see and experience that what really is. So when we sit now, remember just to be a non-interfering, wakeful presence, mirroring all what is there without taking sides, neither trying to hold to anything, nor trying to get rid of anything, without any initiative or effort to engage yourself with any thought or any feeling, but just mirroring everything, letting it come, letting it pass by. In this way, stay with this pure consciousness without identifying yourself with anything in particular. With such an orientation, you sit the next hour.